Hello and welcome to A-Level Biology. In this video, we will be going through the topic of lipids from Section 1 Biological Molecules of AQA A-Level Biology. Before we start, you should memorize that carbon, hydrogen and oxygen are three types of elements that make up lipids. Lipids are very important key components that have vital roles. Some of those main roles are as follows. Number 1. Excellent source of energy. Lipids release double the amount of energy in comparison to carbohydrates. They do this via oxidation reaction, which results in twice the amount of energy, as well as releasing valuable water, which is then used in various other metabolic reactions. The second main role is insulation. Maintaining a certain constant optimum temperature is essential for all animals. Fats, which is a subgroup of lipids, are slow thermal conductors. This means they do not conduct heat very well, which is advantageous to animals as it retains animals' body heat, meaning that less energy is used to maintain temperature. They are also used as electrical insulators in myelin sheath around nerve cells, about which we will learn in Section 6. Another role of lipids is protection. It's used as a protective layer and hence stored around delicate organs like kidneys, which are not protected exclusively by bones like skull or rib cage. Last but not least role is waterproofing. As I mentioned in the beginning that lipids are insoluble. This property allows them to perform the role of waterproofing, which is used by both plants and animals. Plants and insects both have waxy lipid cuticles that can serve water. There are two main types of lipids, triglyceride and phospholipids. Let's look at how each of them are formed. Phospholipid is made up of one molecule of glycerol, two molecules of fatty acids, and one molecule of phosphate. Triglycerides are made up of one molecule of glycerol and three molecules of fatty acids. The type of reaction that these products undergo to make these lipids is simply condensation reaction, which forms ester bond, and similarly these lipids are broken to produce their constituent products. Now this idea overlaps with the topic of polymerization and the processes of hydrolysis and condensation reaction, which we have encountered in a previous video, link in the description. Let's look at triglycerides in a bit more detail. Triglycerides have high ratio of carbon to hydrogen bond than to carbon atoms, which makes them an excellent source of energy. They are large and nonpolar molecules. Nonpolar essentially means that they are not attracted by water, making them insoluble in water. Being insoluble means that water potential of cells is unaffected. In other words, no osmosis takes place. Triglycerides mass to energy ratio is very low. This means that more triglycerides can be stored in a small volume, which makes them very compact, yet high energy storing molecules. As the glycerol molecule are exactly the same in all triglycerides, then how do the variation in triglycerides come? Well, this is all due to the variation in fatty acids. There are over 70 different types of fatty acids, but even those different fatty acids have same carboxyl group. Carboxyl group is just COOH or COOH, which is present at the end of all fatty acids. In this carboxylic group, carbon is bonded with a double bond to an oxygen and with a single bond with another oxygen, which is then bonded to a hydrogen, as you can see at the right end of this diagram. This is a diagram of fatty acid. A fatty acid is just made up of hydrocarbon chain bonded with carboxyl group. Hydrocarbon chain is just a chain of carbon and hydrogen atoms. The variation comes when a double bond between carbons in this hydrocarbon chain occurs. Having one double bond in the hydrocarbon chain makes it monounsaturated. This diagram shows a monounsaturated fatty acid. As you can see, there is a double bond between these hydrocarbon chain. Now you must remember this detail that it is one double bond within a hydrocarbon chain and not in the entire fatty acid, as a monounsaturated fatty acid will have two double bonds, one within hydrocarbon chain and the second one in carboxyl group, as you can see in this diagram as well. If there are more than one carbon-to-carbon double bonds within these hydrocarbon chains, then we call it a polyunsaturated fatty acid. Let's now look at phospholipids. Phospholipids are divided in two sections, which are hydrophilic heads, which consist of phosphate molecule. This is hydrophilic, which means that it is attracted to water. The second section is hydrophobic tail, which consists of fatty acids and therefore repels or orients away from water. This structure is very important and particularly useful in cell membrane, as having these contrasting properties of being hydrophilic and hydrophobic, it creates a bilayer within a cell membrane, thereby creating a hydrophobic barrier, and this is the reason why water is not able to move freely across this lipid bilayer. Phosphate heads hold the surface of the cell membrane as well. The structure of phospholipid is such that it allows it to combine with carbohydrates, which then form glycolipids. Glycolipids play a very important role in cell recognition. Let's now look at the last section of this video, which is the test for lipids. This test is also a required practical, so you will have done this at some stage over this course. To test if a sample contains lipids, first take 2 cubic centimeters of sample and add 5 cubic centimeters of ethanol in that test tube. Shake the test tube, then add 5 cubic centimeters of water and gently shake again. The positive result is indicated by the presence of cloudy white precipitate. This cloudy color occurs due to any lipids being finely dispersed in water to form an emulsion. When light passes through this emulsion, it refracts, leading to water droplets appearing cloudy. As a control, repeat it with water and the final solution should remain clay. This now concludes our video. If you found this helpful, then do give me your feedback by commenting on this video. Watch other videos in this playlist as well and share it with your friends.